K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. The leader in talk radio on the Internet, right here on K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
All right, folks. Well, it is a couple minutes past the hour, 6 o'clock, right here in beautiful downtown Oklahoma City. You know what that means. That means it's time for America Off the Rails. I want to give a quick overview and a shout-out to the affiliates for you this evening, so don't forget, you can always check us out on AMFM247.com. You can check us out on High Point Radio, straight out of New Jersey. You can check us out on Leading Edge Radio Network. You can also find us on SHR Media and, of course, the home channels and the home network, of course, K98 Talk, where you can find us on K98Talk.com or K98Talk.org. We always want to make sure that one is up and running, which it's odd, but we do have mirror sites for that one because I'm just crazy like that. And when one goes down, I want to make sure we have something running all the time. And, of course, we do also have the Spark Radio Network. You have the ability to also listen to this show on SoundCloud, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, of course, anytime the station is live, iHeartRadio, FM Player, and at this point I know there's a couple others that I can't think of right now off the top of my head. Now, of course, we've been talking about this a lot for the last couple of weeks. I'm hoping this may be the last episode for a while, and maybe we can put this to bed. But it's one of the things that's driving me crazy about this whole upcoming election cycle is the fact that everybody is turning on one another in the conservative movement. And because one person doesn't agree with something another person is saying, we don't have the ability to argue and disagree anymore without it becoming personal and an attack. And we're going to talk about that and two of the folks that are big time in media that I think are actually doing it right, Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. Now, at this point, we are going to go ahead and take a quick break, pay some bills, and then we will be right back with you here in just a little bit for the beginning of the show. I am Rick Robinson. We'll be back with you here in just a couple minutes. All right, folks, this is Rick Robinson with you. I want to tell you about some friends of mine from a company called Security Enforcement Specialists. When I ran my security agency for 12 years, I worked with one of these partners on a daily basis. He's been involved in this agency now, and with his other partner, they do have over 30 years of experience in the private security industry. If you own a business and you need someone to keep you or your customers or residents safe, then I highly recommend contacting Security Enforcement Specialists today. Give them a call at 405-703-1796. Again, that's 405-703-1796. Again, tell them Rick from K98 Talk sent you. Like I said, if you need the help, they are here for you. So make sure that you go look them up, check them out, and see what they can do.
The wrong way. Welcome to the place. Welcome.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
We will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your doctor, you will be able to keep your doctor, period. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. This is the most transparent administration in history. Not even a smidgen of corruption.
Fact is, we had 4 dead Americans. What difference at this point does it make?
If you got a business, you didn't build that.
Oh, welcome to the face. Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Don't expect us to admit a mistake. We're paying off election debts to those on the take. Attorney General's lying even while
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
All right, folks. Well, that's right. It is Tuesday. We've made it through Monday. I know. Friday seems like it's so far away. Trust me, it's not just you. We do have a lot to talk about today. I'm hoping to finally put some of this Trumpanista stuff to bed, but it's a recurring theme for me, and it irritates me to no end because we still have so many months to make up our minds. Can we just put everything aside for a second and say, hey, I'll see. What are we down to 16 now? Maybe 15? I think it's 16. I'm pretty sure at least one's already dropped. I know Santorum, or not. No, Perry, I'm sorry, is pretty close. I don't think he's done it yet. But, there's this whole back and forth going on, and it's happening. If you're conservative, it's happening pretty much whether you're just run-of-the-mill American conservative or even if you're some big talking head conservative like Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh and Glenn Beck. Now, I have to admit, Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck at least seem to be having their discussion and they're being able to handle their differences civilly. Some folks, not so much. One of the reasons I wanted to bring this back up is because we did get some feedback from the show yesterday. And one of the points that I wanted to bring up actually came from a listener who reached out to me on Twitter. And he said that at this point he thinks what's happening is there are so many people that are so mad over everything that's happened in the last 6.5 years. They're finally glad to have somebody voicing how angry they are. And I can see that to a point. Don't get me wrong. I'm just as angry as the rest of you. I have been for a long time. How do you think all of this got started? I started looking around and realizing that if I did not do something, even if it was something small, even if I could never make it to the point where I've got millions of people paying attention to what I say, none of that matters to me. What matters to me is, can I make an influence in my small circle of the world? Because I have to look at my children and now my grandchildren and say, I did what I could to bring this country back from the brink. So believe me, I understand the anger. I understand the frustration. I feel it with you. But what I don't understand is this early in the process, alienating people, making people even more angry than they already are, all because of the one or two things that Donald Trump has said that either you agree with or you disagree with. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I do have a pretty long clip. At least for an hour-long show, it's fairly long. It's not terribly long. But I do want to go ahead and play the clip. And I think these are a couple of folks that are actually doing it right. Now, I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this is a bit from Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck's discussion last night on Fox News.
colleague, Glenn. How are you? There he is.
How are you,
Glenn
Sean?
Beck. You don't even need an introduction. We'll just say Beck.
Oh, yeah, right. How are you?
All right, let's start with, you put a Facebook post up on, I think it was Friday. You mentioned me and Coulter and Rush and others.
Right.
And you wanted an answer. Why don't you tell us the answer, the question that you wanted answered?
What I wrote was, and I called you right after, I wrote to you right after I posted it, because you and I are friends, and I wanted to say, I really do want an answer on this. This is not trying to throw anybody under the bus, and it's not trying to throw Trump under the bus. I am really trying to understand how conservatives can look at Donald Trump's record, which he himself self-identifies more as a Democrat than as a conservative or a Republican, and say, that's our guy. Now, I want the American people to decide, and I'm not trying to shut him down. I don't agree with people who want to, kick him out or silence him or whatever. I just don't understand it, because his record is horrendous when it comes to conservative principles.
I guess what it's going to come down to, and I know you said on your radio show today, because I read it on the Blaze on your website, that you and I are at an impasse. I think it's about 10 pages. By the way, I typed the whole thing out on my iPhone. I'm sitting there in my daughter's tennis tournament. I'm sitting there writing you back, and I didn't expect it to go that long, by the way. But I wanted to give you a real, thoughtful answer.
And you did.
But I don't think you agree with anything I said, so what's the point?
No. I do agree. I do agree that our jobs, we see our jobs differently. And we talked about it because, again, you wrote a lot. So there was a lot to agree on. And the things that you said about each candidate, I agree on. And the way you handle things. I'm much more of an opinion guy. And there are candidates that I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk to Jeb Bush. I know what Jeb Bush is going to say. I got it. You have Jeb Bush on because people access these candidates through you. I'm more of an opinion guy.
I give a lot of opinions, too. I am genuinely, and I put this in my letter to you, which has gotten, I guess, a lot of media attention. I am currently undecided. And the good thing about the process, I tried to explain this, is we've got 5.5 months.
Right.
But till February 1, 2016 is when the Iowa caucus is.
And I'm currently undecided. I mean, I have favorites. I love Ted Cruz.
I like Ted Cruz a lot, too.
Right, but if Ted Cruz doesn't go, I'd go to Rand Paul. I'm looking at Rubio. I'm still kicking the tires on Rubio and Walker. But there are others
They're
that
all good people. Everyone you mentioned I like a lot, and I put that in the letter.
But there are others that I would not vote for just because I think they're progressive in nature. I believe that Donald Trump is progressive in nature. He looks for the strong government. And more importantly, I think this says a lot. I mean, again, I want to be really clear because I think what Donald Trump is saying is connecting to people. And I feel a lot of the things that he says,
All right, so that's the end of that clip right there. I mean, it actually went on for quite a while longer, but I didn't really see the point in clipping the whole thing because, it's kind of pointless. Now, things that I agree with in that conversation are the fact that, it's really early in this process. I agree with Sean, and I like what he does, to a point. I have to tell you, I typically do not listen to his radio show that much. I usually catch maybe 15 to 20 minutes of it here and there. I enjoy his TV show a little more. Maybe it's because I can handle him in small doses. Not anything against you, Hannity. If we ever got to meet in person, I would probably fall over. But just 3 hours, a little much sometimes. It's one of the reasons why I only do an hour show. But I agree with a lot of things that were said by both folks in here. I don't think we know enough about where Trump is actually going to stand. I think we have a problem right now with Trump telling people what they want to hear. That's what concerns me about everything that's going on right now, is I think that we are hearing from Trump everything that we want to hear. And we already have a president that did that. He told everybody everything they wanted to hear. And all we've managed to do about that now is be lied to and jerked around and told one thing while another thing happens. And I think if we continue to allow the presidential cycle to become a popularity contest, that's all we're ever going to get. And I understand the anger. I understand the angst. I understand the frustration. But we are about to make another very huge mistake if we are not careful. I mean, take a really long, close, hard look at Trump and Sanders, and you're going to see that they're really not that much different. I mean, how many times after he got elected did we find the truth about what Obama really said? I mean, what about the fact that he was for a single-payer healthcare system before he was against a single-payer healthcare system, and then he wanted to find a way to make sure that he built a single-payer healthcare system?
Bad breath. Try Doggy Dentures. Now available in extra.
Yay for pop-up blockers not working. Sorry about that, folks. All right, so I mean, how many things during the Obama presidency have we heard him say one thing and then something else happens? And if you think if we continue to allow this to be a popularity contest, that's not what's going to happen again? I mean, the thing about it is, again, if I got a chance to meet Donald Trump, I would probably fall over. I'm not saying that I wouldn't sit down and have a beer with a guy. I'm not saying that I wouldn't like to sit down and talk about his policies with him. As a matter of fact, I've been trying to get him on this show now for several weeks, because I want to put all of the candidates out there in front of you as we start getting bigger, if we have the access to do it. I don't care if it's my show, Stacey's show with JD, Stacey's show that she's about to do with Lou, Red Nation Rising. I don't care. I just want to bring you guys through this entire thing that we're building, everything that you need to know to be able to make an informed decision. I don't want to just be an opinion guy. I'm comfortable as an opinion guy. I can give you my opinion all day long, 6 weeks from Sunday, but it doesn't change the facts. The fact of the matter is, everybody keeps comparing Trump to Reagan. Reagan had a philosophical change once. Trump has changed affiliations, last count, around 15, 16 times. He's a businessman. He's used to telling people what they need to hear to be able to get them to sign on the dotted line. And I'm telling you right now, until he proves me wrong, that's what I'm going to tell you over and over again, is I think that is exactly what he is doing right now. And if you don't believe me, I have something else I want to let you listen to for a little bit. This one's not nearly as long, but it is almost as important. As I can get it queued up here.
We're going to take jobs back from China, Japan. We're going to make our country great again. And that, to me, is going to be the challenge. And we're going to do it. And it's not going to be that difficult. When I get the right people negotiating with the right countries, we will come out on top every single time. When I do a deal, I don't say, oh, here's 14 points. I go out and do it. I don't sit down and talk about 14 points. She just asked, Casey, am I going to take questions from reporters? What am I doing? Am I taking questions from reporters? They'll tell you I'm taking questions. By the way, unlike Hillary, this is unlike Hillary. Do we agree?
All right, here now is the author of Brand.
All right. So, I mean, you hear it again. The arrogance. The flippancy with which he addresses the press. We already have a president doing those things. Do we need another one? I mean, because Trump is basically running as the anti-Obama. Is that really what this country needs? Is someone who is just as arrogant? And I'm sorry, I'm just calling it the way I see it. Trump, if you want to call me out about it, you feel free to come on the show, and you can tell me how humble you are in 4,000 words or less. Sorry, had to take the shot. But anyway, I mean, look, I understand he's got every reason to not be humble. He's worth $10 billion, for God's sake. And I understand that too. But money is not everything. I understand that everybody's looking at the money that he's made and said, man, if we could turn him loose on the economy, we would be set. But think about how he's made that money. He has admitted to us in front of the world that he's worked the system as a businessman. Do you think he's going to do anything differently as a president other than continue to work the system, or is he actually going to try to fix the system? Let me tell you what I want, and I don't care who does it. I want somebody who is going to go in as the President of the United States and fix our broken system. Our system is broken, nearly to the point where it is beyond repair. And all we're doing right now is we've got a bunch of ego stroking going on. We've got a bunch of folks lining up going, oh, you're almost as popular as Trump. Don't worry about it. You've got better ideas than Trump. And then we've got Trump out there going, yeah, I'm the best one around. Preening and primping like the damn rooster on the walk. Because he's got the market share of attention right now. I still don't know who I'm going to vote for yet. And I've told you guys for pretty much every show for the last week, if it comes down to it, no matter who the nominee is, I will probably pull the lever for them. If it happens to be Trump, so be it. Now, if it comes down to either Christie or Bush, it's going to be messy in the voting booth because my head's either going to explode or I'm going to puke. And I don't know which one it's going to be. All I know is we need to put our differences aside to rally behind a candidate that is not only going to say the right things, but do the right things. Because that's where we keep having a problem in this country over and over and over again. We keep listening to these same idiots that keep saying, hey, vote for me. You know, there was something that I responded to last night, and it's one of the reasons why I keep wanting to bring this up. Everybody started talking about the fence and the wall that Trump's calling for. Does anybody remember when John McCain did the same thing? Does anybody remember during his last election cycle when John McCain did the same thing? Vote for me and I'll finish the fence. Then he flips America the bird. We keep falling for the same crap over and over and over and over, and we keep expecting things to be different every single time. And I'm afraid that we are caught up in a glitter trap when it comes to Trump. And by we, I mean the American people at this point, because I don't think he's going to do nearly the job that he says he's going to do. I think his ego will continue to get in the way. Is that wrong of me? Maybe. Am I judging him? Trying not to. But I see too many things that I don't like. Like the attacks and the name calling. And I understand that people have done it to him first. But I also think we have lost track of something somewhere in this country. Just because somebody attacks you first doesn't mean it's okay to attack back. Sometimes you have to learn to rise above the situation. And I know that's what everybody likes about Trump, because he's just running around like a bull in a china shop, causing mayhem and destruction everywhere that he goes. And I understand that a lot of you are angry, and that's why you're identifying with Trump. But can you please just take a second and actually look at his record? He admitted that at one point in time he thought socialized medicine was the way to go. Expanding Medicaid is the way to go. Has he honestly changed his mind on that, or is he just telling us what we want to hear? Because that's the same crap that Obama was selling in 2008. I am not a fan of single-payer health care. Let me be clear. Alright, so I'm not Jason DeWilkins, but that was my attempt at an Obama. But the thing about it is, and we've played it before, you know what, let me see if I can find it now. We'll play it now if I can find it. I think this is the one. We will play it and be surprised if I'm wrong. But this kind of outlines a few things, and it's long enough that I think it's the one that I'm looking for. So we'll go ahead and run it and see what happens.
I want to make a distinction between a universal plan versus a single payer plan, because those are two different things. A single payer plan would be a plan like Medicare for All, or the kind of plan that they have in Canada, where basically government is the only person, is the only entity that pays for all health care. Everybody has a government paid for plan, even though depending on which country, the doctors are still private or the hospitals might still be private. In some countries, the doctors work for the government and the hospitals are owned by the government. But the point is that government pays for everything, like Medicare for All. That is a single payer plan. I have not said that I was a single payer supporter because, frankly, we historically have had a employer-based system in this country with private insurers, and for us to transition to a system like that, I believe, would be too disruptive.
The challenge is, how do we get the federal government to take care of its business? I happen to be a proponent of a single-payer universal health care plan. That's no reason why the United States of America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world, is spending 14% of its gross national product on health care, cannot provide basic health insurance to everybody.
I have not said that I was a single payer supporter.
I happen to be a proponent of a single payer universal health care plan.
All right, so which one is it? And how are we supposed to know Trump's not going to wind up doing the exact same thing? I'm telling you, we've spent too many years being told what we wanted to hear. That's made me very, very wary. And I understand I may be being unjust to Donald Trump. But he's going to have to prove some things to me before he gets my vote. And it's not just, we're going to make Mexico build the wall for us. Because in this instance, if you really stop and look, most of the infrastructure we need is in place to be able to do those things without building a wall. The other thing is, with our technology that we have available now, there's no reason that we cannot revamp our immigration system to make it easier for the folks that want to come here legally to be able to do so. There's also no reason why we can't put things in place to make sure that we are capturing the people that are coming here illegally. I mean, look, I am, in some ways, a libertarian-leaning person. I am not an open borders guy. I don't think our system can sustain it, especially with as broken as it is right now. If you seriously want to talk about open borders and just letting people come and go as they please with limited access and information as far as who they are and what they're doing here, then the first thing we're going to have to do is fix everything else that's broken in this country. And before we can do that, we've actually got to fix the border first. This is the thing that nobody wants to talk about. We're all hung up on this border situation. We've got people that think we shouldn't have borders at all. We've got people that think that people should be able to come and go as they please. And that's on every party. There are people that believe that. And look, if you seriously want to have a discussion about that, that's fine. But we've got to fix what's broken first. You cannot have open borders when we have a system that is designed to give everyone who comes here illegally every ounce of help they need, some of which even our American citizens do not qualify for. Somebody's going to threaten to take away my capitalist card here in a second, but I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. If we're going to throw money away hand over fist to take care of people, we should be doing that for the folks that have served this country honorably and are currently living in boxes. Because they are the ones that are entitled to the help. I'm so tired of hearing these programs called entitlements. They are not entitlements. The American public is not entitled to anything. illegal immigrants are definitely not entitled to anything. Who are entitled to help if they need it? The folks that have put their lives on the line every day to keep us safe. Law enforcement, firefighters, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, National Guard, I don't care. If you at one point in time have worn a uniform and have put yourself in harm's way and you are currently sleeping in a cardboard box, then your country has failed you and we should all be ashamed. Because if we're going to be handing this crap out to the people that sneak over the damn border, then we should be taking care of the people that have put their lives on the line for us every single day until something inside them broke, or why would they be sleeping in a cardboard box? This is why immigration needs to be fixed, because if we're going to be spending the type of money that we're spending, then we need to be spending it on the right people. Alright, at this point it is about time for us to go ahead and take a break. I need to pay some more bills. As soon as I find... There we go. Alright, so there's what I'm looking for. We'll be right back here in just a couple minutes, folks, to continue America Off the Rails. We're into the bottom half of the show now. We'll be right back in a sec.
Red Nation Rising brings you Town Hall Radio.
From a single tweet to 3 million a month, our community is a force to be reckoned with on social media.
So don't miss our show, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98 Talk.
Our chat room is our co-host, and you ask the question.
Join us and be heard.
So get ready to sound off on Red Nation Rising Radio. No one else is going to do it for you.
There's a wild, wild whisper blowing in the wind, calling out my name like a long lost friend.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
K98Talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98Talk.com.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members, of their families or their children, asking them to deploy, patrol, stay on watch, on point, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to bring them all the way home, to keep them secure, to have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs do whatever it takes to help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Find out how you can help at findwwp.org.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of conservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, and no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote.
Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Has to do with
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Political courageous will replace the Bill of Rights. Support religious freedom, bless you, pray to Jesus Christ. The press is in our pockets.
All right, folks, we're back. We're live. We're into the last half of the show at this point. You know, it just amazes me how quickly it goes by when I really get going. But there's a couple things that I want to change gears, go back to the two candidates that everybody seems to be talking about. Again, I gotta say, part of what turned me off with Trump, and I know I'm gonna catch flack for this, because I know everybody looked at it as a setup, but part of what turned me off with Trump was the fact that he couldn't just keep his hand down. I mean, he lost me, to paraphrase Jerry Maguire, he lost me at hello. Because if you're not going to tell me that at some point, depending on how this goes, you're not going to fall in line and support whoever the ultimate nominee is to try to make sure that this country doesn't fall apart, I have a problem with that. Now, do I think at some point he's going to run third party? I honestly don't know. Right now, he's been trying to fund everything on his own. I don't know if I don't know if his pockets are deep enough to fund a third party campaign. And I don't know if he would make enough of a dent. But that's part of what concerns me. I'm afraid we're looking at the 2016 Ross Perot in Donald Trump. And I think at some point, if people continue to stroke his ego, that's exactly what we're going to have. And there's something that I put together shortly after the debates that kind of gave you my perception of how Donald Trump came across during those debates. We're going to go ahead and play that now.
Only Rosie O'Donnell. $8,737,540,000. And honestly, Megan, if you don't like it, I'm sorry. I've been very nice to you, although I could probably maybe not be based on the way you have treated me. We need quickness and we need brain in this country.
That's all, folks.
All right, so that's exactly, at least to me, how Donald Trump comes across when he really gets going. Because he just, he zips around topic to topic, screaming and yelling and ranting and raving, and everybody gives him standing ovations. Now, I'm, again, not saying that I don't think he's bringing something positive to the 2016 cycle, because he's bringing attention that wouldn't necessarily be there otherwise. But, it all comes back to parenting. There are certain kinds of attention that you need to remind your children that they don't necessarily want. There are plenty of children out there that do everything they can to get any type of attention, whether it's breaking things, throwing a fit, having a tantrum, because at some point they know somebody's going to react. My point to you, all of you listening right now, whether it's live through one of the affiliates, iHeartRadio, however it is you choose to listen, my question to you is Donald Trump bringing the right type of attention to this election cycle? All right. Now, just to make sure I don't leave him out, we put this together a while ago, and it pretty much sums up exactly how I feel about our buddy boy Jeb. So we're going to play that now too.
Listen to my story about a man named Jeb, a poor millionaire who could keep his family fed. But then one day he was talking to his pops, and his pops said, "I'm for the tops." office, that is. Presidente of the United States of America. The next thing you know, old Jeb makes a run. The whole time his brother says, this'll be fun. So now for 2016, that's how Jeb became the GOP's hillbilly. Now come on and vote for Jeb now. Y'all hear? Ta-hoo!
So yeah, a little bit of fun, but it's exactly how I feel about Jeb. Of course, I don't have JD's sound clip, or I'd be playing it right now, where he yells very, very loudly, "Stay out the bushes!" You know, the Bush-Clinton dynasties, they need to go away. And I said this yesterday, but I'm going to say it again. I think a lot of the political dynasties need to go away. The only way we're ever going to get that to happen is with term limits. But that's the thing that I keep saying. We keep voting for these nozzles, and they keep saying, vote for me and we're going to fix things. Really, there's only really one way to fix things. It's for you to go into D.C. to limit your own power. And until you can prove to me that you're going to do that, I can't help you. Because the simple fact of the matter is, that's what we have to have happen. We have to get a group in D.C. that understand that the only way to fix everything that's broken is to start by limiting the power of the political class. And I tell you right now, it's probably never going to happen. You know, there was a listener yesterday who's local here to Oklahoma who actually pointed out that I should run for office because I should run against Tom Cole, because Tom Cole's basically a rhino. You know, as intrigued as I am by that concept, and as interesting as I think it might be to make an attempt for it, the thing that worries me, and again, I'm not trying to sound facetious, but when I put my mind to something, I can usually find a way to make it happen. This station is case in point. For one, because everybody looked at me like I was crazy when I first started trying to build it, and look where it is now. It started as a single show that morphed into a network that then turned into a radio station that houses the network, and now some of the shows are heard on 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 different networks at a time. And I'm not taking all the credit for that. I'm not. But what concerns me is, like I said, when I put my mind to something, I can usually find a way to make it happen. So I politely responded to the person that suggested this and said, even though I am intrigued by the idea of assuming political office, should I ever have the ability to run for it, I'm terrified to do so. Because the system corrupts everyone it touches. No matter what your intentions are when you get there, eventually you become part of the problem. John McCain is case in point. He used to be called the Maverick. Now you might as well just call him an old nag. He went in there, he stirred things up, he made changes, but eventually he became the system. I mean, the closest thing that I can think of to our political class in this country is, again, probably going to turn some folks off, but it's a sci-fi reference. The politicians in our country remind me of the Borg. For anybody who hasn't ever watched Star Trek, the Borg are a race of humanoids that have incorporated technology into their existence to the point where they've actually become cyborgs. But they use things like nanites and injector probes to basically propagate themselves, because what they have the ability to do is assimilate anyone they come near. The political class in D.C. now does the same, whether anyone wants to admit it or not. We still have some young enough blood in there that if we try hard enough and we do so quickly enough, we might actually be able to make some changes. But within the next few years, it's all going to slip away. And what concerns me is if we get someone like Sanders or Clinton or even crazy Uncle Joe in that White House, we are doomed. Now, I have to admit, crazy Uncle Joe would make my job a hell of a lot easier, and it would give me all kinds of things to talk about for the next 4 years. But I don't know if the country's got 4 more years. I truly don't. So as we start winding down the show, as we always do, we're going to do things a little bit differently. First thing I want to do, because I haven't done it in a while, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, concealandcarry.net. They're really easy to find. Put www. The word conceal, the letter N, then the word carry, then .net. That is a network of retailers, trainers, firearms experts, suppliers throughout all 50 states. So depending on what it is that you're looking for, that would be where I would start, because they have locations available in all 50 states. And there's a map. You can basically just go to the state that you live in, click on it, and see what's available. So if you're looking to either expand your weapon collection, find ways to get better ammunition, more equipment, training, whatever the case may be, feel free to go check them out. Now, as we start winding down, because we are getting near the end of the show, I haven't done this in a while because we're usually jam-packed all the way up to the end. But I'm going to do something that I used to do every single show. And I'm going to implore you, if you can hear my voice, and you are listening to my voice, if you have not done so already, find a way to get involved. I don't care if you disagree with 99.99997% of what comes out of my mouth. You still need to be involved. This country is falling apart, and we can no longer sit on the sidelines. I will tell you the one thing that I have promised myself the day that I started this, and it's something that I couldn't even put into words until I heard it from Dr. Arrington. From now on, I will do my best to speak the truth and endure whatever the consequences might be. If people hate me, fine. If people don't want to talk to me anymore, fine. If I lose friends because I will not back down from what I believe in, that is fine. Because I have a responsibility to my family first, to my country next, and to each and every one of you to make sure that somebody doesn't drop the damn ball. Too many people come and go. Too many people pick up the mantle and they run with it for a while. They find a way to get as much money as they can out of it, and then they're out, and then it turns into political gamesmanship and corporate masochism. I will tell you this right now today. No matter how far this show goes, no matter where it ends up, no matter how much money I make from it, nothing will change. This show will be about bringing you the truth as I see it. The show will be about me speaking the truth as I envision it and enduring whatever those consequences might be. Now again, I say to you, as I have done on lots of other shows before, it is time to put down the remote. It is time to get off of the couch. It is most definitely time to find a way to get involved. Because we are running out of time. If the anger and the vitriol from both sides of the aisle right now are any indication, this country is about to explode. We have an entire group of people that still think they are second-class citizens, even though they won civil rights. You don't have to listen about it from an old fat white guy. You can hear it from a person of color who specifically says, hey, y'all, we won. Civil rights happened back in the 60s. Get over it. That's almost an exact quote. I know, because I used to play it all the time. And I have lost friends when I started this. There will be consequences if you get involved. No matter how you get involved, there will be consequences that you will have to deal with. But I tell you right now, this country is worth your time. This country is worth your sacrifice. Even if you cannot do so financially, then find a candidate that you align with, whether it's a congressional race, a Senate race, or even the primaries for the presidency, and find a way to help them. But do so in a way that doesn't malign others. It's fine to give your opinion, but don't make it a personal attack. I don't like John McCain. But I don't like John McCain. It's not that I don't like John McCain as a person. I don't like who John McCain has become since he's been a part of D.C. But he's a former naval aviator, and no matter what Donald Trump says, he is a hero. And we need to remember that. And that's part of the problem. We have forgotten how to disagree with folks civilly. And that's very disturbing to me. Because we used to be able to tell people our differences and do so in a way where we could discuss them. We used to be able to do that. We can't do that anymore. That's why I was so excited to see the whole back and forth between Glenn Beck and Sean Hannity and the fact that it didn't turn into a shouting match. Because they were able to disagree. I have to admit, I thought Hannity tried to push a button when he said, well, what good did it do for me to reply to you because you didn't agree with anything I said anyway? I think that was an attempt to press a button, but I was glad to see that Beck didn't go that route. I really was. Because we have got to figure out how to find civil discourse again, especially when we don't agree with one another. I've said it before, I'll say it again, and I will probably say it until the day that I die unless something changes. There are about 7 issues that have everybody in this country completely worked up. If we could put those 7 issues aside, and honestly, I guess it's 6 now. At least for one side, because gay marriage is basically done at this point. Our side really hasn't given up on that yet. You know what? I'm not going to judge anybody over it. The ones that want everything to be exactly as outlined in the Bible, the ones that think the Bible is crazy. You know what? It's not my job to judge you. It is my job to tell you that until we can put down these hot button issues, we as a society are going to lose more than we ever win. And you can say whatever you want about the fact that I've said that, because I get called out all the time because I align myself as a Christian. I tell people that I'm a Christian, and then they say, well, how can you be for gay marriage? Look, I'm neither for nor against gay marriage. If you tell me that you are a Christian and you tell me that you are someone who is going to marry someone of the same sex, then I will tell you to your face I have a problem with that. If you tell me that you are a Christian. But if you are not a Christian, if you're a Buddhist or a humanist or whatever the case may be, I can't hold you to the same standard that I hold fellow Christians to. If you tell me that you're a Christian and you're doing something crazy and I don't call you out for it, that falls back on me. Now, I am required to witness to those who do not believe the same things that I do, but you cannot do that if you're judging them. And that's one place where we seem to have lost our way. Everybody gets so worked up because at the pulpit on Sundays, the pastor's like, ooh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You've got to remember, he's trying to mold and shape and instruct the flock of the people that tell him by their regular occurrence to his services that they are Christians. He is required to do those things. But we cannot take what we feel is a cookie cutter mold to our faith and try to fit everybody into it. So yes, I personally think gay marriage is wrong. I think it is an abomination. I think it is not what God intended. But I cannot hold everybody to my standards. And I will not. Because the Bible specifically says, judge not lest ye be judged. The only place in the Bible where it says something a little bit differently than that is when they're referring to the way that fellow believers should speak to other believers. And it specifically says at that point that if someone identifies themselves as a believer and you see them stumble, you should help them and help them understand what it is that they've done wrong. All right, so at this point, that is going to do it for this particular episode of America Off the Rails. We've got Graceland Radio coming up with Jennifer Meadows right behind me, and then later tonight we have The Right Angle with Leslie and Bill. Then after that, we have Game On with Janie and Stacy, rounding out the night before we bring out the Late Night in the Midlands crew. Make sure you stay tuned for the great lineup, folks. I'll be back with you tomorrow.
Screw you guys. I'm going home. Later.
Game over, man. It's game over.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.